The printer.
The AC is still on, it'll I'll turn on.
I hope so.
I think it just recast temperature.
Bring it.
Okay, so. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our meeting today, July 15th, 2025. Could I have a mover and a seconder to? Oh, here.
I have them.
Oh, this is mine.
Yes.
Okay,
Moved by Counselor Clark, seconded by Counselor Corbett, that this meeting be opened at 7 p.m.
all in favor? Gary? Next, we have the adoption of the agenda. Could I have a mover and a seconder?
Moved by Counselor Featherstone, seconded by Counselor Corbett, that the agenda presented to council and dated the 15th day of July, 2025 be adopted as prepared.
All in favor? Gary? Any disclosure of pecuniary interest in general nature thereof? None? We'll move on with our adoption of previous minutes. We have the adoption of the regular meeting of council, June 24th. Mover and a seconder.
Moved by Counselor Clark, seconded by Counselor Featherstone, that the minutes of the regular council meeting of June 24th, 2025, and special council meeting of July 9th, 2025 be adopted as circulated.
All in favor? Carried. Next, we have the special meeting of council, July 9th. Oh, you did
yes.
both of them. Okay. Then next we have a presentation and delegation. We have walkthrough of the new website. That will be Cassandra.
No, it should be good.
There we go.
All right, good evening, Mayor Peckett and council. As you know, the township website is often the first place residents go when they're looking for information. As such, the goal on our website redesign went far beyond a new look. This project focused on creating a site that is accessible, easy to navigate, mobile friendly, and built to Sorry. It's closed. Take two. This project focused on creating a site that is accessible, easy to navigate, mobile friendly, and built to support better communication between the township and the public. More than anything, it's about making sure residents have quick, reliable access to accurate, up-to-date information anytime from anywhere. Tonight, I'll take you on a guided tour of the new website, which soft launched in late June and is now live for public use and feedback. Both residents and council have until July 30th to share their input, which will be compiled and forwarded to GHD before the project wraps up. This ensures any bugs or functional issues are resolved before final sign-off. It's important to emphasize that the website is not a static product. It's a living platform. We now have the ability to update and evolve the site over time as issues arise, new services are introduced, or community needs shift. The content management system gives us incredible flexibility, not only in how we manage content behind the scenes, but also in how we present the information for users. This means we're not locked into any one layout, one menu structure, or one way of delivering information. Ultimately, this project represents a significant milestone in the township's efforts to modernize service delivery and improve communication. Council's support throughout this initiative has helped position Bonfield as a connected, forward-thinking, and transparent community. And we're excited to share the results with you tonight. To achieve our goals, we examined best practices and research, other leading municipal websites, accessibility standards, and user experience guides to set our design direction. Also, content was written in clear, everyday language. As an example, while we may internally use waste management, most people would search for terms like landfill, garbage, or recycling. To make information easier to find, we structured the site into 4 main areas, which are township services, your community, build, grow, and invest, and your government. So township services is a practical service-focused hub for everyday needs. This section is designed to make day-to-day municipal services easy to access, whether it's finding information on property taxes, applying for permits, or checking landfill hours. Residents can find what they need quickly and intuitively. A timely and important section within township services is a property taxes page. Residents visiting this page can easily navigate through detailed information, including how property taxes are calculated, payment due dates, and payment options. Another key area within the township services is the garbage and recycling. This section addresses one of the most frequently requested topics by residents. There's easy access to location of the landfill. Oops, sorry. There's easy access to the location of the landfill, complete with hours of operation and contact details. Residents will also find downloadable sorting guides, landfill regulations, and seasonal reminders all in one convenient location. As you can see here, one of the most useful tools for the new website is our ability to incorporate graphics, images, and icons to help convey information more clearly. This not only enhances the visual appeal of the page, but also significantly improves accessibility. Your community showcases life in Bonfield and strengthens local community. This section is dedicated to highlighting the people, places, and activities that make Bonfield a vibrant and welcoming community. It includes information on parks and playgrounds, facility rentals, clubs and organizations, local schools, and community events. By bringing all of this information together in one place, the website helps residents discover new opportunities to connect, participate, and take pride in where we live. A key feature of this section is the Parks and Playgrounds page. We are incredibly fortunate to enjoy access to natural beauty in Bonfield, including parks, trails, waterfront areas, and other green spaces. This page clearly maps out the location of each park and outlines the amenities available, such as playgrounds, picnic areas, walking paths, and facilities, making it easier for families and visitors to plan their outings. Build, Grow, and Invest is a one-stop shop for residents, builders, and entrepreneurs. This section supports Bonfield's growth and economic development by bringing together all the tools and information needed for building, renovating, and investing in our community. It includes permit applications, building and development guides, zoning and planning information, and information on business support services. The building and renovating page contains everything from permit requirements and inspection processes to downloadable resources and sample documentation. We also introduced a frequently asked questions section that directly addresses the most common inquiries. This helps residents find clear, reliable answers anytime, day or night. In Development is a business directory designed to connect residents and visitors with local businesses, services, and trades. It will highlight Bonfield's small business community, support local shopping, and make it easier for people to find what they need. Your Government is a window into the daily as well as long-term municipal operations in Bonfield. Residents can find council meetings, agendas, and minutes, budgets, financial reports, bylaws, and contact information for elected officials and municipal departments. A key feature in this section is the Mayor and Council page. Here, residents will find everything they need to stay up to date on the activities of council, including schedules, agendas, and how to participate in council meetings. Another page that needs to be highlighted is the bylaws page. This page focuses on presenting the most frequently requested bylaws in a clear and accessible way, particularly those related to home and property, user fees, roads, and landfill operations. I would like to highlight as well that this is where you will find information on topics such as travel trailers and recreational vehicles, short-term rentals, and more. And just to note, clicking on the Bonfield logo at the top of any page will take you right back to the home page. On the home page, we have a number of interesting features, including the I Want To, which is a drop-down menu listing of the top actions that residents are searching for, including pay my tax bill, apply for a permit, or report a concern. This user-centric design helps people find tasks without searching through menus. There are also links to contact us, how to pay online, and the fire rating. A site-wide smart search is also available, so any page can be found. Over time, it learns from tags and usage to improve relevance. The homepage is designed to prioritize the most commonly accessed information and services. To ensure the layout reflected residents' needs, we reviewed the reasons behind calls and in-person visits to the township office. This data directly informed which features and shortcuts were prioritized on the homepage, making it faster and easier for residents to get what they need. The News and Notices section is a dedicated section designed to keep the community informed. It is split into two different categories, which you can find over here, which are community news and public notices. Community news will be updates about local events and programs, while public notices will focus on official announcements like community meetings and bylaw changes. When it comes to email subscriptions, residents can now subscribe to our news and notices and receive updates on new posts directly to their email inbox. This direct channel means people stay informed without having to constantly check the website. Smart search and filters are also available. You can search by keyword, date range, category, or instead of scrolling through, users can quickly find different announcements, and that is in here. This is where you would subscribe. And then we will move on to our events calendar. The events calendar is one of the most exciting and community-driven features on the new website. It has been designed to increase awareness, participation, and visibility of events happening throughout Bonfield. Some of the key features include filterable events. So sorry, I'll just get rid of this here. Users can filter events by types such as council meetings, community events, and regional events. Based on early feedback, we will be requesting a change to improve usability in this area. Some users found the drop-down filter menu unintuitive, so we'll be asking GHD if the filters can be configured to remain expanded by default. A small adjustment will make it easier for visitors to immediately see and use filtering options. In this section also, you can subscribe. Residents can subscribe to specific event categories or individual events and receive automated email reminders directly to their inbox. This helps ensure that no one misses out on the events they care about. There are also multiple views where you can look by week, month, or list. Users are also able to print the calendar to post it either in a community location or on their fridge. This is actually a super exciting part of the website here, is that users can submit their own events to be approved, obviously, by us before they are finalized. Once reviewed and approved by township staff, these events are published, increasing their reach and visibility. This creates a true community calendar that reflects the vibrancy of Bonfield civic life. By promoting events online and offering convenient subscription and reminder options, the township strengthens local engagement and ensures more people are aware of and participate in what's happening in our community. Other exciting features that will enhance the residents' experience and improve internal efficiency include enhanced analytics and capabilities of the smarter form functionality. With the new website, staff can now use Google Analytics to gain valuable insights into how residents interact with the site. This includes identifying which pages are most visited, how to navigate through the site, and how long they stay on each page. This information will help us continually refine the site, respond to emerging trends, and ensure that high demand content remains easy to access. The new forms section includes an export feature that lets staff download submissions into an Excel, eliminating manual data entry. This streamlines workflow, reduces errors, and speeds up responses. So essentially what that section is all of our forms will be made into these ones that we can download into Excel. Conclusion. In summary, the website redesign is about more than a facelift. It's about connection. It reflects Bonfield's commitment to a transparent, responsive, and community-first municipality. Thanks to council's support, Bonfield now has a website that meets today's standards and grows with us into the future. We're excited to share it with you tonight, and even more excited to hear your feedback. Feedback can be given by clicking on the pop-up that comes up at the beginning or under the I want button, or even at the bottom of the page as well. Please share your feedback by July 30th to ensure that we are able to consolidate the information and have any outstanding concerns addressed by GHD prior to our closing meeting.
Okay, thank you, Cassandra. Yeah,
I've been fooling around on our website for about a week now. It's really well done. Websites are tough to do, especially when you have a lot of different things that you need to cover. I've been on a lot of other municipality websites and township websites, and a lot of them are like scattered and confusing and tough to find. Obviously, our last one was like that. This is super easy to use. Seems like it has everything that we need. It's really well done.
So
Donna?
I particularly like the functionality of
residents and our small businesses being able to interact, because that is I think a big thing that we want to promote now. Is there's so many events and things that are going on, so we want one-stop shopping for visitors. I think it's going to be amazing, so I like that function.
I don't think I can really add anything. I agree with both counselors. I think the website is fantastic. So good job.
Very good, very interesting.
Thank you. There's, yeah, a lot of opportunity to customize different things as well. You can see this section here, the banner that's rotating through. We can update that seasonally, or as things happen with like the state of emergency like that. We can have all these different alerts pop up as well at the top. There's lots of options for us to grow.
And do we, is it connected to social media as
Yes,
well?
absolutely. Sorry, so here we have our Facebook page directly on there. So it updates live as we update our Facebook page. It will update on our landing page as well as at the bottom of the page, there's the Facebook and the YouTube links.
Maybe we could get Instagram at some point. Just saying. Do you have an Instagram account?
No,
Okay.
Not
I
yet.
see it comes up all the time and says, you've been linked or something. I just say no.
Thank you, Cassandra.
Yeah, thanks, Cassandra.
Very good, Cassandra. Thank you. And I'll be calling on you when I. Okay, we'll move on with our meeting. Question period, no question period, no. Staff reports. Report from the planning administrator, the Ontario Provincial Policy Update.
Okay, yes, that would be me. So good evening, everybody. So the purpose of this report is to provide an update on various bills, acts and policy updates that have taken place recently by the province of Ontario. So as some background, some previously adopted legislation includes Bill 23, which was the More Homes Built Faster Act 2022, and Bill 227, Cutting Red Tape, the Building Ontario Act 2024. So building upon these foundations, the provincial government also recently updated and renamed the provincial policy statement, which is now referred to as the provincial planning statement, or PPS 2024. So that came into effect on 20th of October 2024, and includes several new and enhanced policies. I won't go into full details on the report if anybody wants to read that online. But in terms of planning for people and homes, it states that planning authorities are required to base their population and their employment growth forecasts on the Ministry of Finance's Ontario population projections. It requires municipalities to make sufficient land available to accommodate an appropriate range and mix of land uses to meet projected needs for the next 20 to 30 years. So I know sometimes it's hard to plan for next week, but we've really got to look long term at this. What will Bonfield look like in the decades to come? It also, I think, requires us to plan for infrastructure for that period beyond 30 years, including public service facilities, strategic growth areas, and employment areas, and encourages complete communities. So that would be, basically include a mix of land uses, creating that vitality, walkable neighborhoods, etc. And a range of housing options which allow for intensification and ease of transportation, among other factors. It's big on housing. Obviously, we have an agenda across the country and in the province to accelerate housing delivery. So it establishes minimum targets for affordable housing and specifies the need to coordinate land use planning and housing options. And you may recall from a separate presentation this spring that the District of Nipissing Social Services Administration Board, they did a study regionally, and this placed Bonfield's targets of being an additional 127 homes between 2024 and 2034. So that's what we're working towards. And in terms of rural areas, the PPS also aims to ensure viable rural communities, ones that, really healthy, integrated, and that the rural settlement areas, as they're known, so the hamlets in the context of Bonnfield Township, so that would be Bonnfield and Rutherglen, would be the focus of development moving forward. In terms of employment lands, the PPS continues to promote economic development and competitiveness, as you'd expect, including a mix of different land uses. So whether that's for employment-based land uses, for institutional or mixed uses to meet those longer-term needs, ensuring, if possible, industrial and small-scale manufacturing opportunities. And also actually added protections for employment lands, just recognizing that just because somebody's not built it now doesn't mean in 80 years to come that they won't. And so it's important to preserve those. States and planning authorities may only remove lands from employment areas where it's demonstrated that the land is surplus to requirements, whatever that might be. There's some criteria about that. It talks a lot about sewage water and storm water. As you know, Bonnfield Township doesn't have municipal servicing. So in this context, we're entirely reliant on either private or potentially communal systems. With regards to water, it's really about encouraging and restoring the quality and quantity of water by a variety of means, including collaborating with conservation authorities through watershed planning. So that's looking at basically understanding that watersheds are fluid, they move, right? They integrate, they don't care about Bonnfield, the red lines of Bonnfield Township, they'll move, what will move where it needs to go. Agriculture is also a focus of this, and there's really that shift provincially towards recognizing agricultural systems. So what does that mean? It's a whole farm to table supply chain. How do you get food security? How can that contribute to local business? Coordination. This requires a greater emphasis on planning to be integrated with the planning functions of, say, school boards, post-secondary institutions, your colleges and universities, and also Indigenous communities, strengthening the requirement to engage with Indigenous communities early on, actually, in the decision-making process to tap into knowledge sharing through that. So in terms of some of the more public, recently published bills, Bill 5, Protect Ontario by Unleashing Our Economy Act 2025, that gained royal assent on the 5th of June 2025, and it's perhaps one of the most controversial legislative updates of recent times. It grants the government significant powers, essentially, to overrule local area decision-making at the municipal level in favour of new development proposals. It overhauls several regulations. It's designed to accelerate energy and infrastructure development, as well as mineral extraction projects. It removes environmental assessments, protections, dilutes the protected endangered species, reduces oversight of mining activities, and allows the Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade unlimited powers to provide any proponent or business the ability to conduct any activity it wants in any area through the designation of special economic zones. So this will apply more to kind of larger strategic kind of locations, but it's important to note that this provision could apply anywhere in the province of Ontario. And in effect, the bill weakens the province's environmental assessment laws, including regards to the Ring of Fire and the waste recycling operation in Southern Ontario, with the real emphasis on streamlining decision-making in the mining sector and replacing, as I say, the Endangered Species Act with a narrower Species Conservation Act. So Bill 17 is the Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act 2025, and that was again given royal assent on 5th of June 2025. That proposes widespread changes to the legislation aimed to accelerate housing and infrastructure again, the streamlining of development approvals, standardizing development charges, and expediting transit projects. So now passed, that legislation will actually impact virtually every stage of the land development process, from the submission of planning applications to calculation of development charges and construction standards. And it has implications for the Development Charges Act, the Planning Act. I won't go into all the details there, but it allows the creation of ministers' zoning orders as another mechanism to allow the loosening of planning regulations in an area. it reduces the requirement for affordable housing, through inclusionary zoning policies. Permits school as of right in urban residential areas, so that wouldn't apply, to Barnfield. In regards to the Building Code Act, it reduces the powers of municipalities to adopt measures, including green development standards, which support enhanced energy efficiencies and more sustainable forms of development. So really to summarize, these changes have already had some significant impacts in terms of the industry. The planners that we speak to in our meetings are saying this is widespread. They're still digesting it. There's still regulations to come to back up this legislation about how this will actually be implemented in practice. And municipalities, as we are, they're often at the epicenter of these different agendas. We're incentivized by the provincial government to kind of get out of the way and allow development to happen, and the federal government's wanted to kind of, be a little bit more involved, let's say, in terms of how it wants to see development advance, promoting sustainability, enhanced resilience, and so forth. And at the township level, our current growth has really largely been shown through an increase in single-family dwellings. But moving forward, as I hope we all agree, it's important that we diversify our economic base, and there's another report tonight from CAO, and to include a mix of new commercial and/or industrial uses, so to be able to solidify the employment base of the township. But either way, whatever happens next as this continues to evolve, we'll keep providing updates to make sure that the township's planning and development policies are consistent and do not conflict with the provincial planning policy objectives.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of Simon?
So there was a deadline for our official plan. The province knows that we're probably not going to meet the deadline because they're the ones holding it up, right? So it's with them now. It's been with them for the year.
Mhm.
So we're not going to have a penalty because of the deadline, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's good. And then are they making the changes based on the current legislation as they have the plan right now, or?
So I believe we're speaking to the next agenda item.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, I thought this was,
yeah, so this was just like kind of just to say some of the fast moving legislation
Yes.
changes that happened eventually, and then the next report is to go into kind of where we're at
okay,
in terms
with
of
the
our plan.
official
Yeah.
plan, okay.
But we can answer that question.
All of the policies that we just spoke about now, like the PPS, Bill 5, Bill 17, they have all been implemented since we put our application, our official plan in for
Yeah.
review.
Has there been an uptick in like the land tribunal cases, do you know?
Nobody's appealed yet. I mean, we've worked every application that's come forward. I mean, I've worked with the landowners to kind of resolve issues and challenges, and so far we haven't, in my time here anyway, I haven't come against anything that's been
Okay.
controversial. I've had to recommend refusal, so that's where that would usually trigger someone to appeal.
And so for projects that are already going, this is not retroactive.
So our official plan, I know this speaks to the next project, but for an example, our official plan has been submitted in to the province just for that review period, right? So it hasn't been approved, so we will have to be consistent with all of these changes. But any consent applications that we have looked at from before these were implemented, they have all been approved under the old rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anything moving forward when we're doing considerations must be consistent with these new provincial rules.
Yeah, and any application that is made right now, regardless of the status of our official plan, whether it was as it is or whether we've got a new one adopted, it still has, the provincial planning statements still kind of overrules that and has authority, so it has to be consistent. So,
Thank you.
Jason?
No, I'm good. Thank you. It was great.
Steve?
For me. Thank you.
okay.
I'm wondering the fact that the projected target for homes in Fontville from 2024 to 2034, 127 homes.
Yeah.
Do you think that is that's a target that could be reached?
I
That's-
believe it's possible.
10 homes, yeah, I guess 10 homes.
Yeah,
Or in 10 years would be
It's 12 homes a year.
10 years,
12 homes. It's
Yeah.
12 homes a year.
12 homes a year.
And then what did we have in 2024? Was it 16?
it was a little
In-
bit less than that last year, wasn't it?
Yep.
But
It was
okay.
16 in 2024. It was 16 in 2023. So we're staying consistent, and it was 12 in 22. So as long as we stay on the economy, there are so many factors that affect that. And the economy is not stable right now. So we're hopeful that we can continue to do that. We are seeing more consent application, more severance applications. So there's more interest in that. So we think that, you know, come year 8 to 10, not knowing what the economy is going to be like, but I think projection out based on the last 3 years, that's achievable.
I also think what will help us in meeting our housing targets is the proactive approach we took at creating additional dwelling units or ADUs. Allowing that in our municipality is going to be huge. So I think you're going to see some people this year apply for an additional dwelling unit on their property. Bondfield doesn't have a boatload of number of properties, but we have big properties. So you're going to see, hopefully, a number of people build an additional dwelling unit on their property. So we're going to be able to benefit from hopefully an uptick on that as people actually realize just how beneficial it is to build an additional dwelling unit on your property. I think you're going to see that take traction.
Because although they can't be severed as separate properties, they do still count those additional dwelling units towards the overall housing targets. So, yeah.
It's a very competent approach we're taking.
A lot of other municipalities and townships that are close to us have built subdivisions and stuff as well, so. I mean, you build one decent sized subdivision with one of the bigger builders that are in the area, and you know, you can knock off 24 homes in a year, right?
That's true. Okay. Any more questions? Next, we have a motion.
Oh,
No, she's good.
I need, I need a mover and a seconder, please, to accept the report from our planning administrator.
Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Featherstone, that council accepts this report as an update regarding recent legislative changes put in place by the Ontario provincial government, and that council will ensure such changes are given consideration when making future decisions on land use planning and development issues.
All in favor? Carrie? Next, we have a report from the planning administrator.
Yeah,
The official plan update, please.
yeah, so maybe we'll address some of these questions again, but yeah, so this one's really just to provide an update in terms of our official plan for the township of Bondfield. So prior to my time, in the fall of 2021, the township of Bondfield issued a request for proposals regarding the preparation of a new official plan and a comprehensive zoning bylaw. The contract was subsequently awarded to JL Richardson Associates Limited, who since that time have consulted with staff, other stakeholders, including ministries and Indigenous communities, to produce, first of all, an official plan and zoning bylaw review and update draft background report. So what that did was look at the previous context, what studies have been done, what did the previous LP state, what was the base to move forward from. They also then have proceeded to produce a draft official plan and the first draft unofficial comprehensive zoning bylaw. But as I believe we noted before, but is noted here, because the draft was submitted to the ministry prior to a lot of these recent changes coming into effect, that iteration of the plan, let's say, is already sort of out of date. So there's further work is required to be done to bring that up to the current standard, which could still change. So policy-wise, the provincial planning statement, as I mentioned, 2024 came into effect on October 20th, 2024. It's got various provisions, which we talked about previously. Also, there's Bill 23, Bill 227, Bill 5, Bill 17. So these are all new acts that have been passed by the government, which we need to ensure that this official plan takes account of, and then that the policies are responsive to what the provincial government is saying. So collectively, these omnibus bills have now introduced many amendments to the Ontario Planning Act, the Development Charges Act, the Building Code Act, the Endangered Species Act, which is now referred to as the Species Conservation Act. The change is not exhaustive, and additional legislation and/or regulations are anticipated in the coming years. So JL, in terms of the actual plan itself, JL Richards submitted a draft to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing in July 2024, prior to the above changes coming into effect. And a copy of that was provided to council for reference. So hopefully that was a fun read. And since the draft official plan was submitted in July 2024, the township has been affected by several external events, which have not only delayed the external review of that official plan, but has also started to influence our thought processes internally about what's the plan mean for Bonfield moving forward. And as we all know, the PPS was adopted in November 2024. The Ontario provincial election happened in February 2025. The Canadian federal election then happened in April 2025. The two bills were passed on the 5th of June 2025. Then locally, we had the recent major storm downburst and the declared state of emergency on the 21st of June. And of course, going through all of this, we have this ongoing trade dispute and this renewed focus on what is Canada and its resilience moving forward. So all of those factors have not only delayed progress with the plan, but are influencing how we might develop that plan moving forward to account for certain unknowns, let's say. And in the midst of this, council, as you're aware, you proceeded to adopt a new strategic plan back in March 2025. So there is a tie in there. It's a looser one than the other factors, but it's important that we make sure that the official plan also reflects the strategic direction that's been set by council through that plan. At the time of writing this report, despite efforts to gain comprehensive feedback from the ministry on that draft official plan, all that we've received word of so far is the presence of a significant groundwater recharge area in the township. So it's more a concern to the Conservation Authority than ourselves. Well, it's to us too, but that's their authority, let's say. Suggesting the need for tighter policies and our controls regarding the development on Lake North Bonsing. So as the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks now considers that the entire lake to be at capacity. Just for anyone unsure what that means, through the process recently when we had the bylaws that were passed and we were looking at whether we should have additional dwelling units in the RLS zones on waterfront properties, we chose to put a restriction in place for allowing that new provision because it's important that we maintain the health and the quality of the water of our lakes for future generations. And despite the initial feedback, an estimated timeframe for providing comprehensive comments on the draft official plan could not be confirmed, and the township has no assurances as to when such advice might be given either. So for reasons outlined and largely beyond the township's control, it is anticipated that various amendments could yet be required to the official plan to ensure that it is consistent with these recent provincial planning updates. And also to guide us for the next 10 to 30 years as is set by the PPS. That's what we need to kind of focus on. So to conclude, staff continue to work towards the completion of the official plan and comprehensive zoning bylaw with JL Richards and the ministry. The ministry's feedback and review is the critical information that we need to proceed with that plan. However, with the new realities of rapidly changing policies, there's also a need to ensure that we have a more robust response here as a township. And as we continue to understand what these changes mean for us from a policy perspective. So it's really just an update to provide a copy of that draft plan and also to kind of say, these are all the changes that are taking place.
Great, thank you.
So the track changes in the official plan was made, they were made by JL Richards,
Yeah.
right? Okay, and feed into our plan, okay.
Councillor Corbett?
I believe I've discussed this to death in committee, so I'm okay.
I'm good as
Councillor
well.
Featherstone? Right, thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks, Adam.
Now we
Thank you.
need
Good report.
I thought you were gonna read all of the
Save it from that.
We did that in committee.
Yeah, we did that a few times. Poor Simon.
Okay, then, can I have a mover and seconder with respect to Simon's report on the official plan? Steve and Jason?
Moved by Counselor Featherstone, seconded by Counselor Corbett, that council accepts this report as an update regarding the Township of Bonfield's new proposed official plan and authorizes staff to submit to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and further that council issues a letter to the minister expressing the importance of a timely review.
All in favor? Carried. Next, we have the report from the CAO, Economic Development, Rural Ontario.
Thank you. So in March 2025, council adopted the strategic plan, which included a commitment to lay a strong foundation for future economic growth. One of the key goals is to support a diverse economic base guided by trends and gap analysis. This fall, the planning administrator, as part of their development role, will be reaching out to local Bonfield businesses to carry out a tailored business retention and expansion program. And the BRE program will help identify the types of businesses currently operating in Bonfield, what the supply chain is, the trends, growth potential of those businesses, how we might be able to help overcome some of the barriers and challenges that they face, working with our regional partners. And with this information, the township will be better positioned to support local businesses and connect with them with the industry experts. It's important that there's two-way communication between the township and the business community for that project to be successful and for all of our projects to be successful. But achieving a diverse economic base also requires a deeper understanding of the local economy's gaps so that Bonfield is prepared for future investment opportunities. So being investment ready means knowing the township's economic strength, weaknesses, and areas for growth. It involves having a clear direction for the future and an understanding of Bonfield's current capabilities and potential. This work would be guided by the Economic Development Strategic Plan. The plan would include a SWOT analysis, a snapshot of Bonfield's current economic landscape, which we will have a base understanding through the BRE program, and then prioritizing development opportunities and recommended sectors to target for business attraction and efforts. We know that tourism and agri-food are some of the industries that are doing well in Bonfield, so it's about growing on that. This fall, I believe we've partnered with an agri-food group who will come in and will be meeting with our agricultural farmers to see how we might be able to help build that sector. So that's just one component, but I'm sure there's more out there that we don't know about it. So the province is currently accepting applications for the Rural Ontario Development Program, which supports rural communities and strengthening businesses, driving growth, protecting jobs, and enhancing infrastructure. Upcoming application deadlines are September 24th and February 26th. February would be in 2026 too. The Rural Ontario Development Program offers cost sharing up to 50% to a maximum of $50,000 for strategies and plans that promote business retention, attraction, and expansion, build economic capacity, and enhance workforce development. The proposed economic development strategy would be developed by an external consultant and is estimated to cost between $50,000 and $75,000. It would be budgeted in 2026. The project would be competitively tendered to ensure value for money should we be successful in that funding. So staff are recommending that we submit the funding application for the September 24th intake to support the development of the economic development strategy. I've laid out some timelines on what that would look like for completion hopefully by July 31st of 2026, we could have that complete. And then we would implement after council adoption. There's plenty of opportunity at this point. If council supports the recommendation, we'll prepare the application, we'll bring it back, and if council can provide the comment or anything else that we need to make sure that we have a robust plan at the end of this project, that we can certainly then start to build a diverse economy in Bonfield.
Thank you. Any questions?
Me again. So I am very excited about this because I think that there's so much potential in Bonfield. Always there's someone asking for a hairdresser or someone to hem their pants or a small business repair, small engine repair. And there's a lot of farmsteads. And if we could support them, we really want the farmers market. We want to try to stay local. So I think that it's a fantastic idea that we do this. And I think that the value added from our point of view is, and I was, talking to someone who has a farm stand. If we want to, sell, I think, so there's lots of rules and legislation, and I think that we can help people through the rules and legislation, and maybe even as a combined, like if we have to grade eggs because, we want to do more, or grade meat even for people that raise different farm animals, then if we do a collective, it's a lot cheaper and it makes it more economical. And then people can stay within the community to buy their produce and their, to do their shopping and get the things that they need within Bonfield. So I think that this is a tremendous project. Thank you.
I'd just tie it together with obviously our housing growth. I think we're on the cusp of getting the population back in Bonfield that we need to see some of the economic development, and it's the commercial economic development that starts to follow. You get enough people that are going to shop at a grocery store or that are going to go to a gas station or going to, all of a sudden the business model starts making sense for small businesses to start looking at Bonfield as a viable business option. So anything we can do to help and support that, I think, is critical, and I do like the focus on tying it back to our dwelling growth, which is going to help on the population growth. That's the sweet spot for us, I think, at this point.
Okay, Councillor Featherstone.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add, just maybe even looking at our event that we run, our trade show. It's gotten bigger every year, and so obviously there is a need and a desire for that. So,
Okay, I think it's a very good plan to look at for sure. I question the estimated cost. And that's we would put that in our budget, right? But are we looking for funding as well?
Yeah, so if the recommendation, if the motion were approved, the funding would be at 50% funding. So if it was $50,000 to do the study, to do the strategic plan for economic development, we would have 25,000, and this funding would be 25,000.
Okay. So then I'm going to need a mover and a seconder.
Moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Corbett, that council for the Township of Bonfield receive the report from the CAO, and further that staff be authorized to submit an application for an economic development strategic plan for the township to the Rural Ontario Development Program for September 24th, 2025.
All in favor? Carried. Next, we have a report from the CAO for the merging of the septic approval.
Right, so in 2024, it was determined that the municipal office septic system needed to be replaced. When we started to do the research, we know that currently it is a holding tank with an alarm system that notifies us when it's near capacity, and then it's pumped out. And when that alarm goes off, everybody hears it. It's very loud. So we hired a consultant, we put in the design, we put in the application, and then when the application got to North Bay Manitoba Conservation Authority, it was discovered that this building is a property onto itself. And then the septic is actually, even though it's just right there, it's a different property. So there was agreements on title. We needed to have North Bay Manawar Conservation permission to merge them or to do any changes to the land. So we've now received that permission to do that. So if council passes this, then we send that to the lawyer who can then merge the two properties and we can continue with the application to replace the septic.
Okay, very good. Any questions? Oh,
I'm just happy that they hear the alarm and not smell the alarm.
We are too.
okay.
You hate to be the last person to watch, right? You're the one that sets the alarm.
Yeah. I feel bad when somebody from the library
Oh.
doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so terrible.
Okay, I need a mover and a seconder. Donna and Steve.
Moved by Counselor Featherstone, seconded by Counselor Clark, that council for the Township of Bonneville hereby authorize that the Township Office property roll number ending in 445500 hereby be merged with the township-owned Cabestong Park property ending in roll 44600.
All in favor? Carried. Next, we have the adoption of the committee minutes. Oh, the Planning Advisory Committee. We have a motion. Jason?
Yeah, I moved
Yeah,
in a second, yeah.
okay.
Moved by Counselor Corbett, seconded by Counselor Clark, whereas the Planning Advisory Committee recommends to council that consent application B11 2025 Duquette for the creation of one new lot and one lot addition on lands referred to as 91 Highway 17 East be approved. Be it hereby resolved that council approves this recommendation along with the conditions and notes as set out on the attached decision of approval authority form.
All in favor? Carry.
Since
You
one
gotta
was signed
sign.
now.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Does the color pen matter?
No,
Black, you want black?
I want black.
Okay.
I won't argue.
No,
I have
it's
black.
fine. I just had a blue in my hand.
You weren't supposed to forget it, right?
Yeah. Can I borrow your black pen from out?
Yeah.
The mayor signed in blue. I'm not tattletaling, but.
Black, isn't it? Oh, no.
No.
I don't have a big pen
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, this is black. This one's black. You can have this one if you want. It's
We'll
black.
get you a
Okay,
good
there.
one.
Thanks.
That was a good one. I
Mm,
like that.
You signed it.
Me too. It's gonna be in here, so
Thanks.
for at least another
You
day,
can't find
right?
it.
Yeah,
No, that's the.
Wait, aren't you on holidays? I have a week, that's solid.
We'll sign it, they'll have to redo it. Okay, next we have no items for discussion, no. Next, we have the resolution to be considered for adoption. It's the Lake Nosbonsine OPP Detachment Annual Information Report. Any questions about that? No?
Any highlights you'd like to give?
Well, no, pretty much. It's everything that we did over the last year. But I think I've already said this, but I'll repeat it. When we were at the the conference that the members of the board would like to have more outreach to the communities. And I think I've already said that, but I will repeat it and coming back in September, maybe there's something we could have in Bonneville, even in the council chambers or at the hall to reach out to the community so they know who the police service board members are. So that report is a report that we're required to report to all councils.
That's great.
So,
You don't have a provincial rep yet?
no,
No,
there's
eh?
two that are missing.
Okay,
But
and
So people would go to the Public Appointment Secretariat website and apply if they're interested. I don't know if they have applications that they're
They
working their way
apply,
through.
but then they wait and wait and
Yeah,
Okay.
it's approved through the minister, so,
that
yeah.
seems the usual process.
yeah. Hurry up and wait.
It's their rules.
100%.
Yeah,
All right, so I need a mover and seconder for that. Jason and Steve,
Moved by Counselor Featherstone, seconded by Counselor Corbett, that council for the Township of Bonnfield hereby receives the annual report to council from the Lake Nosbonsing OPP Detachment Board.
all in favor? Carrie. Next we have a motion that we asked last week to be supported for the advocacy for increased income support thresholds for the Canadian veterans. Mover and a seconder.
Moved by Counselor Clark, seconded by Counselor Corbett, that council for the Township of Bonnfield supports the town of Bradford West Gwillimbury in their call on the Government of Canada and all federal parties to increase the eligibility threshold for the Income Replacement Benefit, IRB, program from $20,000 to no less than $40,000 annually for a single-person household, and that a review of all income support programs with the intent to modernize eligibility criteria in line with the current cost of living across Canada.
All in favor? Carrie. Next, we need a mover and seconder for the bylaw 2025-30.
Moved by Counselor Corbett, seconded by Counselor Featherstone, that bylaw 2025-30 being a bylaw to establish building department user fees for the Township of Bonnfield be read a third time in open council and pass this 15th day of July 2025.
Okay, any comments?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, in our last meeting, we did have a member that did put forward some information. And at the end of the meeting, I said I would like to have a look at it. And considering that we have so many homes over the next 10 years that we do have to build, and we don't have land, and we don't have funds for building homes. However, I want to be sure, and I'm sure council as well, want to be sure that we're doing everything in our part when it comes to the building fees. And I was happy to see the decrease in the fees and how it had been worked out. And I wanted to be sure to look again and make sure that we are doing our part as far as the building fees go. So I think Jason did some calculations.
I sure did, yeah.
I think he did.
Yeah.
So I'd ask him to see what.
For sure. So, I mean, one of the points for consideration that we were asked to look at is the single family dwellings and the cost comparisons. If somebody's trying to build a smaller home, is that a deterrent compared to the larger home? So just as a refresher from the report last week, we know that our new proposed building for a single family dwelling would be $3,225, which includes attached garage. And it includes the $225 for up to a 450 square foot deck. And if passed, will also now include the occupancy permit, which is an additional $350 that we've shaved off of what is our current fees. So for an apples to apples comparison, at the report that we had before us last week, looked at 5 of our neighboring municipalities, including East Ferris, Mattawa, Nipissing, Powassan, and Callander. And there were, based off of a $500,000 valuation of a home, there were 2 municipalities that were cheaper than us, and there were 3 municipalities that were more expensive than us. So East Ferris is 87% of the cost that it compared to us, and Mattawa is 90% of the cost compared to ours. And then when you look at Nipissing, Powassan, and Callender, so this is the calculations I did. So you do a quick Google search, and stay with me, everyone. The average cost per square foot to build is between $320 and $550 per square foot. So let's just take the average between those. It's $435 per square foot to build. In order for Nipissing to meet our building permit fee of $3,200-ish, they would have to build a house valued at $380,000, which would equate to, based on that average per square foot, 874 square foot home. So, you know, what we heard is people want to build a smaller home. Well, I think ours is actually very much in line with an 874 square foot home, which is what it would cost to build a very small home in Nipissing. In Powassan, it would be $322,000 valuation of a home. You could build a 740 square foot home, and your building permit fee would be $3,220. So very comparable to ours. And in Callender, you would have to build a house that is valued at $390,000. And at the average cost of building, you would build an 896 square foot home, and the building permit fee would be $3,276. So when you reverse engineer that math, we are very much in the ballpark, and quite frankly, open to people building homes as small as I mean, though all three of those examples are less than 1,000 square foot homes. So those are modest homes. The reality of building costs now, if anybody's looking to build a home, far out of our control, but the building costs are tremendous. Trying to buy two pieces of 2x4s, and you're going to figure out that it's pretty expensive. So I am very satisfied with the work that our staff have done to put this recommendation back to us. I'm very happy to see it go from $4,000 down to $3,000. Add the deck just for comparison purposes. So we're at $3,225, but we cut out the occupancy permit. So I think we've done our work to make sure that we are well within the range of our neighbors, and quite frankly, even more competitive than not with our neighbors in order to build a home of any size. So that's the thing. So we're not limiting. So the last point I'll make is, you look at Nipissing, Powassan, and Callender, it's based on the cost per square foot, or sorry, per house value. So if somebody wants to build $1 million home, their permit is very, very expensive. Somebody wants to build $1 million home here, their permit is still $3,225 if they want to build up to a 450 square foot deck. So we're not only supporting homes of smaller size, we're also supporting homes of larger size and promoting, come on in and build a larger home, which is good for our municipality to have nicer homes. We have a couple of waterfronts that we encourage development on, and I think we find that balance. So I'm comfortable with it.
I think the 3,000 takes you up to a 2,000 square foot home, right? That's what Mike had.
Yeah. Or up to, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Depends on that square meter.
Right.
Within
Yeah,
that
yeah.
bylaw, and then after.
You're right. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
It's regardless of value, you're right.
Right.
It's the size.
Right.
Mhm.
So again, I'm happy to share this math with anybody, but I think when I reverse engineer all that math, because you can cut it a million different ways, but we're squarely in the middle, and actually we're actually more advantageous to build a smaller home in our municipality than three of our neighbors are. So.
Do you have anything to say, Mr. Featherstone?
No, I mean, our goal for cost recovery was 70% or somewhere around in there, and I think this came out to be around 40%. It'd be interesting to see if we drop the user fee bylaws in a year, however many permits we have, to look at that, whether our 40% went up because we did more permits, or whether it kind of stayed the same or even dropped, if our goal was 70%. It'd be interesting to see what our other neighboring townships and municipalities, what their cost recovery is.
Okay, I would just like to say that I do appreciate the individuals, and I don't mind saying Leanne Chadburn. I appreciate the time she has spent and how she has been wanting to ensure that the younger people have the opportunity to build, because it seems that that is something out of the reach of all young people at the time. So if certainly if there's anything that we can do at the township to make that better, I would like to be part of that, and I'm sure council would as well. So I'd like to thank Leanne for her interest in contributing what she has. And I don't know much about building permits now. You want to come and ask me about an estate? I can tell you anything, but I can't tell you much about building permits. But I find it very interesting in knowing what the calculations and what to expect. So I have to thank Leanne for that.
Put me
Now, all
on-
in favor for this motion?
Oh, did you want to?
We should
Carried.
just put Leanne onto some of
Sorry?
the organizations like Home Depot and
Yeah,
Rolling.
yeah, that's where the cost kills you.
try and help us out on that. End.
Yeah. So I believe what we've seen in our, if I do the math correctly, is a 26% decrease. Is what we have decreased our building permit by between because we just passed it, it's now official. We have just decreased our building permit fee by 26%
Okay,
from what it was, so
thank you.
you're welcome.
All in favor? Carry. Next, before I go on to the correspondence, could I just go out of the agenda for a moment? I would just like to welcome Alex back with all his work, and I just wondered if you had any comments to say how everything is after the storm.
Yeah, we're pretty close to getting everything buttoned up. We've still got some crews working over on Talon Lake, just finishing up some road reconstruction, stuff like that. We have a couple roads that we still need to tend to, Ruther Glen side and like the back area of Bonfield, so Boxwell, Grand Desert, those areas. But we're slowly getting there. We had a culvert replacement to do today on McNutt that went very well. So yeah, we're just, this week we're looking to move forward, hopefully get the rest of the spots finished. And yeah, I mean, I think we're trying our best with the hand we've been dealt, so bear with us. And yeah, staff have been really working hard, so.
Well, thank you very much for the very difficult few weeks, and that goes for the staff as well. People have come up to me and said to me, we're surprised to see how quickly things were put back together.
Well,
So
yeah, it's funny you say that. We had a couple of residents actually reach out that they had no idea that some roads were actually washed out, or there was such extensive damage because staff were so quick to respond and get it cleaned up and passable. So I commend the staff big time for that. So
So if I could, of course, as we would all like to extend our thanks to you and the staff, but also just remind our residents that we have a full-time crew of 4.
correct.
And some casuals. So while they're busy for the last 3+ weeks, taking us out of this emergency, all of the work that they would have done for the last 3.5 weeks was not getting done. So we're a little bit behind on where we would have liked to have been at this point in the summer. So the continued patience of our constituency to, of course, every road that would have been graded probably by now, it might not be graded today. We might be a little bit behind, only for the fact that we had an emergency and our crew worked their tail off. So continued patience is appreciated.
that's right.
I just wanted to add to, I know there's been quite a few calls and discussions regarding calcium reapplication and those sort of things. We're currently waiting, I guess, on our funding approval. So we're looking to move forward, and there are spots that we know need calcium reapplication due to the storm and stuff. So like I said, these contractors are still busy. They've got their years pretty much planned out and stuff. So we're reaching out to see when and if we can get snuck in to get a couple more loads and get a reapplication. So like Councilor Corbett said, just bear with us. I mean, I appreciate it.
Well,
If I can
Sorry.
add to that, so we laid the calcium down. I think the cost ended up being close to like $75,000-$80,000, because I know a second bill came in. So we just laid $80,000 worth of calcium on the roads. The storm hit. It's obviously destroyed. We have asked the ministry if that would be an operating cost that would be eligible for the funding, should the funding be approved, and they said yes. So then, our manager has reached out to, like you said, to see when that can be applied. But again, the contractors are busy, and nobody expected to come back to Bonneville to do this, so
We're probably also not the only municipality asking them to come back either.
you are correct. Mhm.
Well, thank you. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I thought
No, thank you very much.
you're a good spotting. All right, so the next one is the appointment for the deputy fire chief. Over in a second there.
Moved by Counselor Corbett, seconded by Counselor Featherstone, that bylaw 2025-32 being a bylaw to appoint a deputy fire chief for the Township of Bonnfield Volunteer Fire Department as presented and is considered read 3 times and passed this 15th day of July, 2025.
All in favor? Carried. Next we have correspondence. We have 4 letters, one from the Steel Rail Committee, Royal Canadian Legion, Phenom, and a second one from Phenom. Do you want this referred for next meeting?
Are there motions?
Just correspond, to accept the
To accept it, yeah.
correspondence.
I'll move to accept the correspondence.
Okay,
for sure.
yes.
Anybody want a second one? Nobody? Okay.
No, Steve did.
Okay.
Moved by Counselor Corbett, seconded by Counselor Featherstone, that council receives a correspondence circulated with the agenda of July 15th, 2025.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, the next we have a closed session.
Yes, I will end the meeting.